welcome to another episode of Around the House. I'm your host, Steve O'Brien, and our show is about home improvement, home repair, anything to do with home improvement. We're here to talk about it. And my guest today is Mr. Bernie Hassan. He's the manager of Weichert Realtors in Briarwood. I got that wrong, I'm sorry. It's Weichert Realtors, Briarwood. I'll let you say it.
You're doing good. It's Weichert Realtors, Briarwood Real Estate.
There you have it. I should have done that from the start. That was so much easier to do. Thanks for being here.
Good to see you, buddy.
We've got some great stuff we want to talk about today. I hope you can stay with us for the show. It ought to be very interesting. We're going to talk today about real estate, what to do to prepare your house to sell, what to look for when purchasing a new home. We've got a bunch of different topics. I want to talk about Title V inspection and what that's all about. I mean, I haven't got a clue. I know it's if you have a septic system, you're required to have a Title V inspection. But Bernie can answer all those questions for us. And anybody planning on selling a home in the near future, maybe Bernie can clear up a few of your questions. First off, Bernie, I'd like to just touch on what's the best time of the year? The market is the best time. I've always been told it's in the spring when you can spruce the outside up nice, curb appeal they call it. Is that true, or is it you got to go with the market?
Well, honestly, I believe we sell homes year round because if you've got to move, you've got to move.
That's true.
And so that dictates a lot of when families come out. Pretty much the statistics would show you that in the spring and in the summer, there are more sales.
Okay.
And I think that usually goes largely with the schedules of most families. School season ends. You get the late spring and summer to hunt for a house, make the move, and get ready for the next school year in another district. But that's not for everybody. There are a lot of people that don't move with children in mind, or quite frankly, may not have the luxury because of a job promotion or something like that. That being said, if you are selling in the spring and in the summer and even into the fall, you do have an opportunity to have some great curb appeal. And you're absolutely correct. You really need to take a good look at staging the landscape of your house and the entranceways to your house and getting it all ready for a couple of things. Photos, because you're going to be on the internet, and when folks pull up in front of the house, are they immediately wowed by the product that they see?
Sure.
So yes, there is a little more, but I'm going to tell you, the market being what it's been, and we've had a significant uptick in the economy and real estate market in the last 24 plus months. Yep. We had a tremendous October, November, and December at the end of last year in 2013, and we're looking like we're not going to do too bad this last quarter as well.
On people selling, yeah.
Yes.
Now, a lot of the stuff, is it a good time to buy versus a good time to sell? I mean, if I want to buy a house, I mean, I don't. In other words, we'll touch on this now because I was going to save it for later, but I'm at the point in my life, and there's a lot of people watching that are probably thinking about it, downsizing. Their families have moved, their children have gone, and the house is just too big. So I'd like to downsize to a smaller home, but I want to get the best. See, you can't sell your house for a ton of money and expect to get a house for nothing. I guess.
Well, I'll be honest with you. That is the general thinking of most folks when they do this. And so part of the real estate agent's job and the real estate company's job is to help educate them. Everybody wants to sell up here and buy down here.
Sure.
Okay? But in reality, I would tell you in almost 30 years of selling real estate that it most often ends up closer to something like this.
Okay.
And you do have to, in some cases, it might take a longer period of time to educate the seller and the buyer. Because they have these fixed numbers that they come into the marketplace with in their mind that they're comfortable with. Yeah. But the marketplace doesn't always cooperate with what you're comfortable with.
Right.
Sometimes we have to actually deal with what the marketplace gives us.
Right.
So, again, it's something that you want to discuss, and you really should have that planned out with your realtor up front. You shouldn't hide things from your realtor. If you're thinking we want to sell way up here, you should let them know. But you need to listen to your real estate agent with regard to the pricing of your house, because you can end up being on the market for a long time, and in some cases, even in a real hot market, not sell your house.
Well, I've known in my own neighborhood, there's a few houses that sold in close proximity to mine, and I would not consider them, the houses, they weren't in half the good a shape as mine were. And they got a ton of money. They got like in the high fives, almost 600,000. So I'm looking at my house and I'm comparing it to theirs. I know that's not the proper way to think about it.
You really truly have to look at like-kind properties. Okay, and I don't know if you have the same exact house or a similar house.
No, a little different.
So you really have to look at like-kind properties with similar square footages, bedrooms and baths, condition, and when I say like-kind, I mean style.
Right.
And then you need, most lenders today will only allow the appraisers who appraise these properties for the mortgages use 6 months worth of comps. So you can't go back. I had somebody say to an agent today, well, he's getting ready to price their house. Well, that house in 2011 across the street from us sold for, but 2011 is another time.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
So
that's interesting. But you come out and you help people decide what's the good price by going through the house and itemizing everything that needs fixing. And that's something else I wanted to kind of touch on is, how do you know, where do you draw the line with how much money to put into your house? In other words, if you have issues with, in my case, I need new windows. And the windows I have in the house were put in probably, I want to say, 30 years ago. But at the time they were put in, they were the top of the line windows. They were Anderson vinyl clad windows. And they're still good. They're not rotting or anything, but they're not as energy efficient as the newer windows. So for me to put the windows in my house, just for me, I'm a carpenter, so I can do them myself. I can save on the labor. But I'm looking at $10,000 for the windows.
Right. Significant amount of windows in the house, I take it.
A lot of windows.
Okay. How many square feet of the house, maybe, do you think?
It's approximately 3,000.
So, great size house, a lot of windows. Sounds like a beautiful home. What I would say is, in every case, what we would do is we would establish what we think the price would be just the way it is.
Okay.
Okay. And then we look at the cost of those windows. And then we go back and look at what the impact would be, the cost of that renovation, whatever it might be, in this case it's windows, and see if it actually raises the price of the house. In some cases it might, in some cases it might not. I wouldn't know that until I saw the house completely and we were able to do an assessment of the house.
Right.
Because there are times when people say, oh, I'm worried, the heating system is old or the roof that if you set a price that takes that into consideration, the house will sell the way it is. There are times when certain renovations will actually bring you more money.
Okay.
But but it's done on a case-by-case basis. I can't tell you one way or other where you got to go without, looking. But that's how you would do it.
Yeah.
Okay. You would assess the house, assess the renovation, and then see what that looks like, in terms of return, what they call ROI, return of investment.
Interesting. Because I know there's a lot of things that probably need fixing and doing, and I'd be the type to just say, all right, it would cost, you would figure that out, it would cost $2,000 to do that, $1,000 for this, and you'd add that up and just take that off what you wanted for the house.
To some degree, yes. And again, I'm not saying wholesale take the number off, because let's remember, real estate's a speculative business.
Right.
So you don't want to leave any money on the table. Your job, the job of a real estate agent with a seller is to get the most money possible for them. So, but you got the right idea. It's kind of going down that road. Absolutely going down that road, making adjustments based on the value of the house and whatever the renovations are going to be. Somewhere you find the middle.
Right. Okay. That clears a little up with me, because I was kind of thinking about getting everything perfect. But if I get everything perfect, then I don't want to sell it. No.
You wouldn't be the first one that went that way.
That's all that work, and I got to leave it behind.
I got to leave it behind for somebody.
So one other thing too is that I've always had an issue with knowing exactly what it means. Title V. And I'm sure there's a lot of viewers out there that know just where I'm coming from with this. If you have a home and you have a septic system, you're required to have a Title V inspection of that system to put your house on the market. Now, if the Title V, if it fails, now I know some of these Title V improvements to get the septic system up to code, it can get very costly in certain situations. Would that be something you could also leave and say, I can't be bothered digging up my front yard, I'll take $10,000 off the house for you to worry about it, or you just can't even legally sell your house unless that's approved? And also,
well, first of all, there are some rules that I'm not. I want to. This is a little bit of a reach. I think there are some rules in Title V. Again, without having them all in front of me, that allow if you are selling to a relative to possibly bypass Title V for a short period of time, and then you have to do the test later on. But for general purposes, no financing from a lender will allow it without Title V. They wouldn't do it, or some kind of repair addendum that would allow it to be fixed after the fact with money in escrow. So it really, technically, for all purposes, it has to be addressed at a sale.
Okay.
So if a Title V fails, then you do have to bring in somebody who can assess an estimate, an installer, assess an estimate. Then you have to have it approved by the Board of Health. In most cases, in this part of the country, Conservation Committee. It is significant time, and you have to hire an engineer to do a plan, an engineering plan. You have to have it approved by your town, Concom, and your Board of Health, and then you send it out for bid to people that can install them. We do it all the time. Quite frankly, since '95, it's been very commonplace. Can it get expensive? Absolutely. Yeah. If it's just a small repair, I've seen small repairs from $5,000 to $10,000, but I've also seen septic systems from $15,000 to $30,000.
Yeah, I've seen those, and that it horrifies me because I know in my house, I don't have the typical leaching field. I have tanks because I had a lot of ledge in the front yard. So they ran pipes out to 3 different tanks that they put in the ground. They found an area there was no ledge, and they put crushed stone around it and draped it in plastic. So it's
a certified septic system by your town and Conservation Committee and Board of Health. So really, quite frankly, all you need to do now is have somebody who's certified in that tests for Title V, and it's a few $100s, and they would come out and test your system, and quite frankly, it might pass.
Do you know what that test is all about?
Yeah, they go in and they open the D box, and yours sounds like a little different than and they watch the flow, and they just check them to see that they're in a working order, that they're leaching properly, and if that's the case, then they submit their report to the Board of Health with a pass. And they're licensed, contractors that do inspections of Title V. A lot of times they're home inspectors with Title V licenses, general contractors with Title V, special Title V license inspection certification.
So there's no way they can cheat you to get the work?
Well, first of all, it's probably generally not a good idea to have a person who would possibly be installing your system do your Title V test.
Yes.
And I do know, I do have a handful of home inspectors that don't do installations. They inspect homes and they do Title V inspections, but they have nothing to do with installation.
They don't refer any friends or anything?
They could if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But, by the way, even if they did, I'm in the middle of one right now, and it's delayed the sale by several weeks. We're in the last phase of waiting for a Conservation Commission appeal period of 21 days. And there's 2 pages of conditions from Concom. They're simple things. They really are simple. But they're things that, quite frankly, the rules and regulations need to be done in order for us to have our ecology and environment the way it is.
Sure.
So he's also talked to 4 installers, and he's gotten a range of prices that were the lowest to the highest, about a $10,000 difference.
That's amazing.
So,
wow.
You do need to check around.
Shop around. Well, yeah, exactly. That's what I wanted to ask you that for. One other thing that I'd like to talk about that I think is very important with the sale of a home, and we talked about it a little before the show, home staging. That's a term I've heard a lot these days. And again, I don't know if it's been around for a long time. They just never had a name for it. But it's almost like you make the decor look nice for the pictures, for the people coming to see the home. Is that a big thing today with selling? Say you were selling, you don't have to hire somebody, although you probably could, but home staging is pretty much like just the decorating, the appeal.
The term staging tells you right up front what they're doing. They're setting the stage.
Yeah.
Okay, much like they did here today for you and I to sit down, much like they would do at any other venue, setting the stage on. We're setting the stage for the property to be viewed on the internet and to be viewed by customers as they come through the property. The home staging industry is something that's probably cropped up seriously in the last 10, 12 years. I'm sure it was around previous to that. In a lot of cases, I think it was probably relegated to much significantly higher priced homes. But that being said, there are home stagers that are in business. You can find them on the internet or any which way you would search out businesses that would come into your home and walk you through the home staging process. I'll tell you, as realtors, we've because of the internet and because of videos and photos, we've gotten more involved with it as individual realtors today. And we go in and we tell people that when they're getting ready to put the house, and I tell them all the time, what's my house got to look like? What do I got to do? Can you help me? And yes, we can help you with all of that. I tell them one of my favorite terms is it's got to be, and I'm going to use the term, it's got to look like Better Homes and Gardens. And they go, oh my gosh, and right away they get nervous because they're living in the house and they go, I got to keep my house looking like Better Homes and Gardens. That's not really what I mean. I said, no, you don't have to be living in a magazine. But what we generally do is we go into room by room. For instance, I go to the kitchen. You know how all the magnets and the family photos are all over the refrigerator?
Everybody has those.
Those come off and go in a box.
Yeah.
Wipe down the beautiful refrigerator, let it shine. Take everything off of every counter, and I mean everything.
Clean it
no
off.
Toasters, no microwaves on the counter, none of it. Off. Nothing on the kitchen table, nothing hanging on the walls other than simple photos. Probably try and remove personal family photos if possible. They do recommend that. And then when that room is completely antiseptic and beautiful and clean, you shoot the photo. You want to bring all the stuff back in after, that's up to you. You should probably leave it somewhat close to that while you're showing your property on the market, however, and you go room by room, shooting it and staging each room. And it can be simply done. To be honest with you, I don't see enough real estate agents doing it. We're kind of big on it at my office, but I don't see enough real estate agents doing it. I mean, the photos are very important. How they're shot, how they're entered into the system so they can be viewed on the internet.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I hope that's helped some of the viewers. If you want to sell your house, there's a few tips there on how to declutter. I know my house, I'd have to have a dumpster to probably.
Me too. I'm a realtor. I'm the worst. I mean, I'm never there when I'm there. I'm not there enough to do what I'm supposed to do. But
I mean, we just tend to throw things on the counter, and you don't even think about it. And as time goes on, when you really stop and look at the inside of your house, and if you could just kind of sweep it clean, because I've gone into new homes that are for sale, and it's like you can hear the echo of your voice because it's so empty. When you start putting things in, like pictures and things like that, it just takes on a whole new look. Anything, curtains even, nice plants and stuff like that.
I have a couple of my realtors, one of my top people, she actually has a couple sets of home staging items. Rugs, some furniture, some vases.
And she brings them to the home.
When the house requires it, she brings them to the home and sets it up. Takes all the photos, and in some cases leaves it through the duration of the listing to sell it.
Sure.
So it really doesn't require. I mean, if you have the means to hire a professional home stager, by all means do that. But your real estate agent should be educated enough to help you with that.
Okay. Yeah, I would think so. I would think that would be very helpful for both parties, because the real estate agent is getting the sale. And you're also helping the person sell their house. So I would think, and I hate to see people take advantage of people to try to make even more money off them. But again, I'm not bad mouthing anybody who does it for a living. God bless you if that's what you do. But it seems pretty simple to me to like you just said, declutter. Maybe put a plant here or there, and put a nice rug down or something like that.
I think you'll find that most houses that of significant value, to several hundred thousands, million plus, probably and likely have professional decorators coming in to begin with.
I was going to say, isn't
so
that more
I mean, the ones that I've been in and have sold, they're because of the level of means that of the owner, the house has been professionally decorated.
Right.
So it's somewhat staged to begin with, and then they have the means to also hire a stager to come in and do the finishing touches for sale. But if that's something, on a smaller scale, you can really do with your realtor, and should be able to do with your realtor with just a little bit of advice and a little bit of, thinking, a little bit of viewing them.
Yeah, I agree. Now, I've heard a few things years ago about when you have when you have a showing, maybe an open house, the people are not supposed to be in the home.
Yes.
But I've also heard that, it's crazy as it sounds, I know you can comment on this, but there's something you cook, apple pie, before you leave, and it leaves some kind of it touches the senses.
Well, I had a customer her home is now under agreement. She baked cookies every time.
Oh, yum.
And left nice, beautiful cookies for me. I put on 5 pounds, I think, while I was selling the house. But she left, so it was always smelling like these baked cookies when we went into the house.
Yeah.
But you can do that by just having the house nice and spick and span and clean smelling. Maybe a candle or a scented something if you want. You can do that. Those types of things help.
Yeah, because I can go into someone's house and I can tell right at the bat if they smoked. If they had pets.
Yeah,
turns me right
the
off.
smoking and the pet issue, and there's plenty of folks out there that are smokers and plenty of folks that are pets. When I come into to that situation, we have to have the sit down. We say, listen, now we are a commodity. Okay, we're going beyond your living space now, and we're going to be a commodity. So we have to be able to, and really with the pets, maybe it is the smell, but a lot of the times it's the inconvenience of getting them out of the house so the house can be shown without them.
Right.
And making sure, quite frankly, I tell all sellers, you really need to be out of the house. And quite frankly, I'm a proponent of not even being there as a listing agent and letting the buyer agent go direct with their buyers. I've sold hundreds of homes over 30 years as a buyer agent, bringing buyers. And if I had a nickel for every time a buyer, when we got in front of the house, said to me, "Is the owner home?" And I said, "No." They go, "Great. Is the listing agent here?" And I said, "No." Great. They feel like they want to be free to walk through the house with me and say things to me.
I got you.
Question me.
Yeah.
And usually what happens with the listing agent, and I know everybody thinks that the listing agent is there and can be more helpful. Let me tell you, I would be risking to say that the majority of homes that sell between two companies, what we call co-brokes, are done by a real estate agent who has never seen the home 1 minute before that buyer has seen it. Because they pulled it out of multiple listings just like the buyer did, and they went and showed the house and sold
So they don't know the history of the home or anything about it?
No, but if the listing is a good, tight listing with great information, and quite frankly, they can learn a lot by just simply calling the listing agent. But the buyers and the buyer agents if they spend more time in the home, and they don't feel intimidated by somebody hearing or listening to what they're saying, they'll stay longer and maybe have a better opinion of the home, feel more comfortable at home. And then you're obviously got the potential of getting more offers on your home.
Oh, there you go.
So it's a really important psychological dynamic that, quite frankly, I don't think we pay enough attention to.
That's interesting. I think you've pretty much nailed everything I wanted to talk about, and opened my eyes to a few things also. Bernie, you want to tell the viewers a little bit about maybe a website or your email? They can contact you if they have any questions.
My company is Weichert Realtors, Briarwood Real Estate, and my email is bhassan@briarwoodrealestate.com. I can be reached at 508-826-3155, and you can call me 24/7.
There you go.
You call me.
There you go. I might be calling you. I again, like we talked earlier, the downsizing thing it's down the road for me at some point. I think the only thing holding me back is the aggravation of cleaning the house out, doing some repairs, Title V. It's just right now I just can't be bothered with it. Again, that might be a good company for myself to start. Yeah, we'll come in and we'll do all that for you. You just sit back and you pay us to do all that. I'm sure there's companies that do that. They'll come in and they'll go through your house and clean everything out you don't want. You get the dumpster full, take it away. And a lot of people can't, and I've seen this through the years in my business, a lot of people don't know who to call. They don't know who to trust when they call somebody to do, a mom and pop that might be in their 70s or 80s. What's this Title V stuff? I mean,
Well, I tell you, what I will tell you and what I'll tell all of your viewers, that you can call me anytime at those numbers or email. Advice is free. You don't have to use me as a real estate agent. I'll give you all the advice I can possibly give about any topic regarding real estate you'd like, and there is no obligation. Advice is free.
how can you beat that? This guy's been around how many years?
1986.
There you go. So, he's doing something right. And you've got quite a few people that work under you.
I have a 31-person staff of the best real estate agents in the industry.
Can you beat that? Well, I also would like to mention before we go into the close here, some of you from the area might remember Bernie, the voice. Bernie had a show for how many years on
It's like 7 or 8 years. I think I had our producer here, Kevin Tachi, was one of my producers.
7 or 8
Yes,
years.
yes.
And that was on radio station WHCA, which was in Brockton. And I also was a talk show host there for a
Yes,
short
you were.
amount of time.
Yes, you
yeah,
were.
We had a
little bit of fun over there.
We had a good crew over there. I really missed that. Those Saturday mornings,
Yep.
I'd be over there doing my show. I was always on the edge of my
Getting
seat.
calls from people and asking all kinds of questions.
That was
It
the scary part.
That was
because-
pretty interesting. That's an
Well,
interesting
it
piece.
was, you never knew who. It was a live show,
Yes,
so you couldn't
yes.
edit anything. So you just had to be on
you
top
had
of your
to,
game.
you had to be able to answer the questions.
Yeah, and I didn't get too many. I had one caller one time, and when I first started the show, and I think you guys will all like this. And he was doing a basement project, and he needed to know how to seal his concrete, and he had all these technical questions. And I said, I was tongue-tied for an answer, so I just said to him, well, the guy, call the paint store. The guy at the paint store probably know.
Yeah,
and here
yeah,
I have a
right.
home improvement show, and I don't know everything, and that's what I'm trying to say. I don't know everything.
No,
I-
you would
I
go down to
never-
the home improvement guy that you buy your stuff from and ask
I
him.
do. I mean, I just pass along what I know, and it's not everything, but we all try to help each other out. And like Bernie said, if you have a question, feel free to give him a call. He's a great guy. He'll help you through anything you need to know. So we're getting close to the end, and I got to wrap it up here. It went by so quick. A very interesting topic the show was today. So I want to thank all the viewers for watching, as usual. My name is Steve O'Brien. I'm the host, and you're watching Around the House. And we've got more shows like this one coming up. So if you have any questions, comments about the show or any show you'd like to see in the near future, feel free to email me. My email is finisheddimensions@yahoo.com. And you can visit my website, www.finisheddimensions.com. And I always look forward to hearing from all the viewers out there. I get some good comments. And again, if you have a topic you'd like us to try to discuss, feel free to drop me a line. I'd be really glad to hear from everybody. So thanks for watching. See you next time. Around the House, Steve O'Brien.